You're welcome to the Renee Q Show. My name is Renee Q Boateng, and our guest today, I have to say, the very beautiful Mrs. Esther Tachie-Menson. And today we're going to be talking about preparing for marriage. Now, I'm sure you're like, but she looks like a young lady. Preparing for marriage. How come I didn't go and get somebody who's been married for like 50 years? You will find out very soon. And what I've learned really is that wisdom is a spirit. Wisdom is a spirit. I'll tell you how I even met you, okay? How I heard about you, Esther. So you're very welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on. I know you won Miss Ghana UK, and you need to tell us all about it. I'm not letting you go without telling us about it. But you know what? You did a live on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. I think it was last week or so. Yeah. And we have a common friend, and she sent the link to me. So, you know, I just saw it in my DM and I opened it. I thought, hey, who is this beautiful girl? What did she say? You see how beauty attracts. And it has to attract positivity. So the first thing for me was just your looks. And I was like, okay, then. So I was like, okay, you let me listen small. And I was just so impressed with everything that you shared, you know, in your life. And it just goes to show that wisdom, like I said before, is a spirit. And a spirit can be in anybody. It doesn't matter the age, you know. So I'd really love for you to share with us what you shared, you know, about your preparation to marriage, because there's so many beautiful ladies out there waiting for their handsome Boazes, and they would learn from this. They would just pick a lot of nuggets from it. So that's what we're going to. But I want to know about Miss Ghana UK. I want to know because, you know, in 1997, I did Miss Teen Ghana.
Oh, wow.
What my dad did to me. My dad was so upset.
That's even funny because my parents didn't want me to do Miss Ghana. They were against it. They were like, because my dad is an elder in Pentecost and so is my mom. She's a deaconess. So they were not interested in Miss Ghana UK. So I told them I want to do it and they said no. Initially, they said no. But I went ahead to apply, not really thinking that they're going to choose me to come and do an audition. So I got an email. They emailed me to come in for an audition, and my parents have said no, but I'm still, you know, I'm still going ahead with it. So I called my mum and said, do you know what? I'm going through with the audition, like, just support me in any way that you can. And at the time that I called my mom, there was a pastor there. So my mom was telling the pastor that, yeah, she's going to do Miss Ghana. I don't want her to do it. And then the pastor said, let her do it because she's going to win. Oh, wow. And my mom was like, if God has said it, that kind of thing, like, okay, that's fine. So I went in Miss Ghana UK with the mind that, okay, God has said I'm going to win. But it wasn't easy. Like, I had to do what everybody else did, but I still had that faith in my mind that this is what God wants me to do. So leading up to it, I remember, I think it was like a day or two before the pageant, I asked God, is he sure? Because... Is God sure? Yeah. You asked him if he was sure? I was thinking... like God, like spiritually, how is this going to edify? Fall in line? Yeah, I was a bit confused. And I thought, this is a bit strange. But I went to church that night, and you know when somebody prophesies when it's quiet, somebody behind me just said, if I've said it, I will do it. And I thought, all right, this is it. And the day of the pageant, my morning devotion was, he that has started a good work in you will surely complete it. So I thought, okay, this is a confirmation upon confirmation. So I went into the pageant, and when I got to top 5, the question that I got wasn't even my question. The lady mistakenly like skipped the lady that was next to me and asked me a very simple question. She said, fame and legacy, what's more important? That was the most easiest question. I got the most easiest question, and it wasn't even my question. Wow. And I said, obviously, legacy is more important because with fame it comes and goes, but with a legacy it lasts forever. If it was like, hey, the fans are coming, then I said, okay, I've got this. And then that was
but the thing with God is he's so God is interesting. Yeah, he's so interesting. And what I've learned over the years is that God doesn't always do things in the same way. Sometimes he can put you in a certain situation, a certain environment, so that you can minister to those people there. If you don't go there, they won't reach the, you know, they won't hear of him. So sometimes God, I just love him for that. I just love the way he can be so cool sometimes. You know, that's who our God is. That's who our God is. You know, so it's so interesting. Like I said, I heard your story and I just said, oh, wow, this is, so I want you to just tell us about it, you know, tell us about your preparation for marriage. I mean, tell us about that. I know, you know, somebody would think, what do you mean your preparation? What was she planning to marry? Did she have a boyfriend at the time? This, that. Tell us all about it.
Okay, so when I did Miss Ghana, the year after that, this page on Instagram came about, and it was called Ashawos of Ghana. And they put these numerous ladies on there, speaking of who they've slept with and XYZ and all of that. And even me, I'll go and check the page and just see like, hey, what's going on? Just to update myself. Back then, you know, I was like interested in these kind of things. Then one time, I remember I was walking up the hill in London, back in London, and my friend called me and said, Esther, they put you on the page. And I'm like, you're joking. It's not possible, because at that time, I wasn't even around like that. So I'm thinking, who
would they connect you with?
What was happening? At that time, I was dating someone that I thought to myself that this is my husband, like this is who God has for me, because he physically and on paper, he was what I wanted. So when they put me on the page, they deleted everybody else's picture and I was just left with my picture. So the page became about me.
The whole page.
After they accumulated like 25K followers or something, it became about me. So obviously he heard about it and he decided to end.
And this was when after you had won.
After I'd won.
So you were Miss Ghana UK at the time, right?
Yeah. Obviously it's all lies. Like I'm just like, this is not true. This is not who I am. And I think that's what he stood on to end the relationship. And when I tell you, I literally felt like this was my husband. So I put everything in it, and it's like God has done it for me, and then it's like it's gone based off of what lies. So I went through a very rough time. Like I just felt like, okay, just discouraged. So I felt like I'm gonna do my own thing, basically. So I was, based off of that, I was making wrong decisions, and you could tell by who I ended up dating along the line. Some crusty guys. Like you could reflect, like the people that I was entertaining was a reflection of how
you were feeling at the time,
how I was, you know. So I just went down a downward spiral. My prayer life had just become non-existent. I wasn't interested. Like I was interested, but I wasn't as on fire, I would say, like I used to be. And it was just really, really tough. It was just a rough time. And I remember one day coming to Ghana, I went to different churches with my mum, prayer camps to pray and fast, just to try and revive that thing back in me, because I was just so discouraged. And I went to church with my friend, and Esther Anaba, Reverend Esther Anaba, approached us in the church and said to us, I give you the grace to marry. And at that time, I wasn't really thinking about my husband, who I'm going to marry, because my heart is on somebody.
You were heartbroken at the time.
So I wasn't really thinking about what kind of grace is this to marry.
What did he say? I give you the grace to marry.
I give you the grace to marry.
Right.
That's what he said. And so I remember just like, okay, there's a grace to marry. What's happening here? So I ended up like my spirit was awakening. Like I was praying more and all that. So I started to really pray about my husband. Who is this husband that, you know, I'm like, who is this man that I'm going to marry? And then I'd have prophecies from different pastors telling me that my husband is going to be a prominent person, and you know, all these things. So I'm like, who's this person? I was thinking, who is it? So I got some books. I started researching on like marriage, like how to be a wife, what does it entail, you know?
Right.
Because I knew that it wasn't just a physical thing. Because if I'm going off of looks, I was getting guys, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know,
fine guys were coming. They were coming.
You know, but I was looking for that substance.
Yes.
In a person.
Yes. A deeper.
Deeper, as well as in myself. So I wanted to match that. So I wanted to like basically build myself up, myself up again. And then I got these books and I started writing a journal. I got a book by Tiffany Langard called 31 Days of Prayer for Your Husband.
Yes.
So I'm doing that, I'm praying, I'm doing that, I'm praying, and I'm going out, I'm not mingling, I'm seeing people. And I remember on day 22,
wow,
I go out with my cousin and I see the guy that I want to be with. And I'm like...
The guy that you broke up with? Or the guy that broke up with
me.
Right.
I see him out.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm single, he's single, what are we doing? Like, let's just see what's going to happen. And I went to him and I said, hey, you know, how are you? XYZ. He said to me, oh, I've got a girlfriend now. I'm going to this country and, you know, and again, that rejection hit me. The same rejection that hit me the years back. And I thought to myself, I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
I've done too much to settle for this. So I made a decision on that day.
Day 22.
Day 22. That I'm not going to look at this guy anymore. Like, I'm going to focus on what God has for me. And I kid you not, I walked out of the party and I went to my car and I sparked my car. I was ready to go. Then a man approaches the car and I'm like, okay. Then I roll down the window and he's like, hello. He likes my hair because I've got natural hair under this wig and my hair was a bit short. So he's like, oh, I like your hair. And I said, thank you. And his voice was deep. I don't know, something about him.
He was kicking you.
He was kicking me.
He was kicking you.
I'm like, who is this? But yeah, to cut that story short, that was my husband. I ended up marrying him.
That's your husband today?
Today. The man,
the father of your children.
Yeah.
The father of your beautiful children.
The day that I decided to literally let go of that person.
This I'm getting so many revelations for what you just said. You know, that sometimes we hold on so much to things that, oh my goodness,
it's like we're
things
praying
that
for God to bless us,
but we're still holding on to, and until we let go, we can't receive our blessing.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
So on that day I let go, and that day I met my husband, the man I'm married to today. Yeah,
but on that day you didn't know he was your husband. No. So what happened?
No, so okay, so I wish he was here because his side is also divine as well. Like what he was telling me after, I'm like, hey, God really connects people together. So on our first date, we went to Kempinski. I remember, and the way I saw him at the party wasn't how I saw him at Kempinski. At Kempinski, he had a different type of glow. I don't know what it was. Like that's when I saw him, you know, because it was dark and stuff. I didn't really pay attention to him physically like that. But when I saw him at Kempinski, I was like, he was wearing like a kaftan and proper gentleman. So I thought, okay. Then in conversation, he was talking about his faith in God, and what made us both click initially was the spiritual side of it, because he spoke about going to Edumfa. That's a prayer camp in, I believe it's in Cape Coast or something.
I'm not sure. And
I was like, oh, my mom also goes there. Then from that, it's like we started talking about more spiritual stuff and background and all that. And I'm like, hey, who's this guy?
Man who loves God.
Yeah, like who's this? I don't know him. My friends don't know him. Like, nobody knows him. You know, so I couldn't really get somebody to ask who he was. Thank God now, because nowadays it's like.
Now, at the time, did you start praying for your husband or start praying for marriage at the time because you were heartbroken at the time? you know, you like you said, you were not ready for marriage. You're not looking for marriage.
I wasn't looking
but
for
were
a
you being
husband.
pressured? Were you being pressured at the time by family or friends or anything? Because you know now it's so normal now in a way for young ladies to be pressured by family, by friends. You know, after university. Sometimes they're not even asking you to go and look for a job. The first thing is, if you finish school, get a husband. You know, so there are so many ladies out there who are rushing and pushing for marriage. What I loved so much about your story, about your testimony, your experience, was the fact that you were praying to God.
Yeah.
You know, and asking, and you actually took that. That's a very, very good book. And it's so interesting that book I thought was for married women.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I have it.
For your husband, exactly.
I thought it was like praying for your husband, as in like, you know, you're a married woman.
I was praying for him like I already have a husband.
Yes. Yeah. But that's the thing. So when you talked about it, then it clicked as well that, you know, we also have to start praying for things that we don't have yet. We don't have to wait until, you know, because you will have a husband. You can start praying for him now. You don't have to wait because you're not mentioning anybody's name. You said my husband. Yes. So that means whoever my husband is.
But after day 22, funny enough, I just put his name because it's like dear husband. Then from that day going, I put his name.
What name did you put? His name. His name. But how did you know his name?
No, because
don't mention his name. But did you actually put your husband's name, like who your husband is today?
Yeah,
his name.
After I met him and I'm ticking these boxes that he's this guy, that guy, I put his name there.
Ah, so it's like you were tapping into him.
Yeah, I was tapping into him because it just made sense, you know. And I went beyond 31 days. I was just praying for him. Day 32, day 33. Yeah.
I mean, I like this so much. And I want this basically to be like a platform for us to encourage young women out there to just start praying. Start praying. You know, if it's fine that you want a husband. Who is your husband? Yes, you don't know yet. Start praying for him.
And believe God and
trust God that God is going to. And also, what kind of things? How do you want your husband to be? Start praying it into him.
100%. Me, I didn't miss anything because I knew how I was building myself up. So I needed to be with somebody like that could match me. You know, I wasn't going to settle. No, I wasn't. I was ready to get what God has, the best.
The best for you,
the best for me, because I was. You know, for so long I was making choices on my own, like doing my own thing. But when you allow God to choose or help you to choose, because I don't believe that God says this is your husband, this is your wife. I believe that he gives you the wisdom, he gives you discernment to make a decision that's good for you, have to make a suitable partner for yourself, you know. So that's what I was doing, just praying for a suitable partner. And he really.
So how would you say that praying in advance for your marriage has helped your marriage today?
Things that normal couples argue all the time, you know, it's a normal thing in a relationship. But when you prayed for back about certain things, how you respond, the grace that you use to respond, it doesn't make arguments get to I'm leaving you or it's a divorce. You know, there's a tone now because it's like you've allowed God to groom you in a sense. So your response to your husband, his response to you, things become easier, I would say.
So would you say the prayer has made you a submissive wife?
Naturally. Naturally, and if you knew me before,
so that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, because if you knew me before, Esther,
that's what I was going to ask you. Because I'm like, hey, Esther, you know, I don't know what you were like before, but would you say that looking back at who you were, can you say that, you know, after the prayers, looking at your marriage today and how you relate to your husband and everything, would you say that your life has changed? Would you say that it's better?
I've allowed God to help me, to give me the grace, because I'm not perfect, but I want to be better. I want to do better. So that's when you allow God to literally, you know, help you day to day, give you the grace to serve your husband better. Because inevitably you're serving God, you know? So my relationship with God has definitely helped me to be more submissive to my husband, naturally. It comes easy. Sometimes. Sometimes you know, the flesh can just come out, but it's natural, it's easy for me now.
Oh, wow. This is so beautiful. Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll be right back. We are back. It's the Renee Q show, and I'm here today with Esther, and we are talking about preparing for marriage. I probably should have called it praying for marriage, because I love the fact that you actually started prayer. I told you, I know that book, but I always, for some reason, thought that it was for married women only. I never thought it was a book that single women could pick up and start praying into their husbands. So I really, really like that. You know, that
funny because John Gray said that a wife isn't the presence of a ring, but the presence of your character. So it's very important to be a wife before you're even married. Yes. And I say that character-wise. You know, preparing yourself. Can you serve people? Are you hospitable? You know, are you welcoming? Can you marry? Like, it's a question. So did you start
changing things about you?
100%.
You started changing things about you.
I used to shout like, because my parents, my mom's side is quite loud. So naturally we speak with like, hey, but then I learned to tone down, you know, just be more graceful in my approach to people, you know, and I just had to just really go through that process.
Do you think that because that relationship you were in got just suddenly got broken, did it make you feel like you weren't worthy?
It was probably the fact that I didn't feel worthy. That's probably the best word to describe it. And I had a point to prove or something. And when you get told that these things are spiritual, you start tackling it from a spiritual perspective.
Right.
So that's what I did. I just felt like I had to build myself up prayer-wise as well. But yeah, definitely.
Wow, that's a great experience. And ladies out there watching, hey, you need to start praying now. I just love it. I love the story so much when I listened to it, when I heard it, because I was like, we need to pray a lot. Yeah. We need to pray a lot. Sometimes we would just, cry, and just point at the devil, but not do anything about it. Yeah. But we really need to pray and pray and pray. And a lot of the times we only pray for things we have. Until we have it, we don't really pray for it. And so that's why I just thought, who would think to start praying 31? Because that one is 31 days. Some wives can't go through it. Day 7, and they're like, it's okay, I know him, it's okay.
And it's funny because some of the prayers that you're even praying is like, when you begin praying it, maybe in the morning you've had an argument with your spouse, and then now coming to praying for your spouse then becomes a bit difficult for you, But it's just the fact that, okay, you're submitting to God now. What is God saying? And that's what I believe. The character is it all boils down to character. That's what I believe. God was really working on my character. And situations that happened before I got married helped me deal with things in my marriage as well. So it's been good. Yeah. I mean, you probably haven't been married for that long. And like I said, will be 3 years.
3 years, exactly. So my point in letting you come here was the fact that, there's so much we can learn from different people, older people, younger people, but we also have to give younger people the platform to speak. A lot of the time it's always the older ones and their experiences, but then the young ones as well. What have they been through? How did they get to where they are? Sometimes they even can touch the younger ones, because the first thing is people are like, hey, where's her weave from? The connection will be the weave. But then they connected through the weave, and then they hear the wisdom. So it's a great thing that you did to go on Instagram. Anybody could be watching, to put yourself out there, basically. And today, look at where you are. You're on the Renee Q show.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello. And so it's a fantastic thing. So well done. I want you to speak to ladies out there. There are probably ladies watching, and they can relate to your story. Yes, they've been dumped. Dare I use that word? Their hearts have been broken. This is the man that, the things we've talked about, he promised me he will marry me. And today he's telling me he's found somebody else. Or for one reason or the other, he's just left me. I feel so worthless. oh my goodness, will anybody even marry me? What is it? Is it my looks? What is it? Like, I just feel like I'm just not worthy. I want you to speak to that lady out there who's probably feeling this way. And she wants to be a wife. She would want to have her family. She wants to have, her children and all of that. But she's thinking today, am I even worthy at all? Am I worth it? And am I worthy? And would any man look at me and even marry me? It's all yours. Speak to her, talk to her.
One of the things that I love about God, one of the attributes that I love about God is his faithfulness. And when he says something, it may not look like that thing at the moment, but when you trust and believe that this is what God has said, and I'm a firm believer of if God has said it, he must do it, or then he's not God. He has to ungod himself. Then we're all basically screwed, So when you understand who God is, and you understand what he said concerning your life, he will do it for you. Be patient, be prayerful, walk in grace, and just believe that he will do it for you because he has done it before.
Yes, and he'll keep doing it.
He'll keep doing it.
That's a beautiful testimony. Thank you so much for coming on. Let's just take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we are back. We're still on the Renee Q show, and I'm here with Esther, and we're talking about preparing for marriage. Thank you so much for the lots of wisdom, I'll call it, the wisdom that you've shared with a lot of young ladies out there. Don't worry. I think don't worry at all. Just start praying because your man is out there waiting for you. Just pray. He will come to you. Don't worry at all. Just trust God and pray. So I have a little gift for you. Now, I'm an ambassador of self-love. I just love and encourage women to love themselves, to appreciate themselves, no matter what it is that you've been through, to just value yourself for you. When you know what your worth, nobody can come and put it down because you know your worth. You know who you are. You know you're a daughter of Christ, and who is Christ, the King. So that makes me a princess. Oh my goodness, that alone. I mean, that alone is my confidence. I just love it too much, So I just, all the time, sometimes I ask ladies, like, it's so very common for ladies to say such beautiful things about other people, but rarely about themselves. We are on Instagram. Yeah. When it's somebody's birthday, oh my God, look at all the captions. Yeah. And when it's my birthday, +1. That's the only thing you ever say. Yeah. So anyway, so this is a little gift for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, you can take it out. That is the Renee Q Love Pillow. And anytime you hold it, anytime you squeeze it, I just want you to just remind yourself of how special you are. And to just, tell yourself something you love about yourself. So that's to encourage yourself to keep loving and loving yourself. So Esther, tell us one thing you love about you.
I love my tenacity, my ability to keep going and to get things done.
I like that. I like that. You're watching, you're saying as well. The question is, what do you love about you? Ask yourself that and answer it. I mean, all the time, we need to ask ourselves things like that. What do I even love about me? Who am I? What do I love about myself? We need to just keep telling ourselves. And what does this say? It says faith comes by hearing. When you keep telling yourself things about yourself, you become. So what is it? Keep telling yourself things you love about yourself. I have to say a huge thank you to the Apricot Lifestyle Concept Store for allowing us to use their beautiful, I call it a beautiful store here. And people don't know where this is. They're like, where is this? Where is this? Where is the set? Where is this place? Well, it's the Apricot Lifestyle Concept Store in East Legon. It's a beautiful boutique, different beautiful things, clothes, accessories, home decor stuff, just beautiful. Ladies, quickly, you need to come, and a great place to get gifts as well for your friends. She's one of our sponsors, and also another sponsor who wants to remain anonymous. But I have to say a huge thank you to them, and God bless you to them. And a big thank you to you as well for watching. See you next week. Stay safe and stay blessed.